For once you think not to trust something someone else tells you. But what if I told you you couldn't trust yourself either? Your memory can be distorted, erased, reconstructed, and manipulated all the way to someone else's life. Your memory is as good or bad as the person in front of you wants it to become. Now, if I started by saying that I could plant a memory in your head that never happened, you wouldn't believe me. You'd say, why would you recollect a memory that never happened? And honestly, fair enough. But in the 1970s, Elizabeth Loftus discovered something that would totally shatter this belief. And honestly, you'd have to sit back and think about everything you've gone through all over again. Elizabeth Loftus was one of the most influential psychologists in the 20th century. She collaborated with John Palmer to conduct an experiment. In the experiment, the participants were shown a series of short films depicting car accidents. After each film, they were asked to estimate the speed of the cars involved in the collision. Crucially, the participants were divided into different groups, and each group received a slightly different question about the accident. What changed in the sets of questions was the verb used to define the collision. Group 1 was asked how fast were the cars going when they hit each other. Another group was asked the same question but with the verb smashed instead of hit. How fast were the cars going when they smashed into each other? What they found out was that the participants who were asked the questions with the verb smashed gave higher speed estimates compared to those who were asked with the verb hit. The average speed estimate for the smashed group was significantly higher than that for the hit group. Here, the participants were not intentionally lying or trying to deceive. Rather, their memories were being influenced and altered by the way questions were framed. This study was groundbreaking because it demonstrated how subtle changes in the wordings of questions could lead to significant differences in eyewitness reports. This was the foundation of one of the most classic and most cited studies in the fields of psychology. Elizabeth later conducted another experiment, the Lost in the Mall study. In this experiment, the experimenter asked the participants to recall their childhood events. Among these two events, they inserted a fabricated event, getting lost in a shopping mall as a child. They explained to the participants how sad and deserted they felt when they got lost in the mall, and how they kept looking for their parents, so on and so forth. They later found out that a significant number of participants recalled this false event, often with vivid details and emotions, even though it never happened. It was all just a planted memory by the experimenter. So the misinformation effect, according to Elizabeth Loftus, is a phenomenon where people develop false memories after being exposed to misleading information. Elizabeth says that when a suggestive information is fed to a person, contamination of memory is possible. She said that our memories are stored in mental libraries, and when it's time to extract them, they are reconstructed, not replayed. Elizabeth said that sometimes people would go to therapy with a particular problem but come out with an even graver issue. For instance, some people who were in therapy came out to believe that they had been abused as a child, as a result of suggestions made by their therapists. Loftus said that this was due to the misinformation effect, where people developed false memories of a traumatic event that never happened to them. Thus, the misinformation effect can have serious consequences, and oftentimes it can even lead people to make false accusations or to develop phobias of things they believed happened to them in the past. With these experiments, Elizabeth concluded that people are very susceptible to forming false memories. Loftus developed a procedure called the rich false memory procedure, where people were given suggestions about things that might have happened to them in their childhood. And when she did this, people would develop false memories of those events. One would think that the false memories would not be as vivid or as emotional as the real memories. But on the contrary, it can be very difficult to tell the difference between true and false memories. It was found that the false memories can be just as emotional as the true memories. Brain imaging studies also showed that the brain signals for true and false memories can be very similar. Elizabeth said that the misinformation effect can hold very grave consequences in the future. It would be very easy to plant information about a particular person, and once the false memory is planted, it's very difficult to detach it. Some people develop false memories about getting sick from a particular food and were less likely to want to eat that food again. And this brings me to why it's very important to know when to ban this technique. Elizabeth says that the therapists cannot ethically use this technique on their patients, whether it helps them or not. This technique could end up creating false memories that would forever take a toll on the patients for how realistic these memories are. A major takeaway from this technique is that just because someone says it with confidence does not mean it is the truth. Always remember that your memory can be reconstructed, distorted, erased by oneself or others, all according to their liking. That was up for today's video, and I'll see you again with another better slapping video. Till then, please be sure to like, share and subscribe. And at the end, always remember to be empathetic. Bye.